Wow, that's a lot of cash. Now it's time to take 5.
Well, internationally acclaimed artists Joseph Landry and Brian Gazeley create works in pewter and stone, terracotta, silver, and bronze.
And you should see their client list. It includes members of the royal family, actually many royal families, religious leaders, government officials, and Hollywood superstars. And the talented artists who create these works live and work right here in the Maritimes. It's a tricky business transporting a sculpture this large. And even trickier, creating something like this. But that's exactly what Joseph Landry and Brian Gazeley have been doing for the past 20 years.
The room is filled with basically our lifetime. There's pieces from the National Portrait Collection, from the National Cathedral, from the White House and Mount Vernon collections, and from the Buckingham Palace collection, all back on loan or replicas of them.
Joseph and Brian have met and sculpted some of the biggest names of our time. Tom Cruise, Barbara Streisand, Katharine Hepburn, to name a few.
They're on pedestals here, and we tend to put them on pedestals, but you have to remember that they are people. And when you treat them that way, or they treat you that way, and the walls are broke down, and it's just very enjoyable.
It all began 2 decades ago with small pewter pieces.
Our very first Christmas together, we started making small silver Christmas tree ornaments. We made 450 the first year and gave them all away before Christmas night.
The ornaments developed into nativity sets, then chest sets. Soon they were getting orders to do bigger pieces.
To me, a statue is something that you touch and you feel all the movement all through it. And that's the biggest kick for me, is getting all the movement for the eye, making something move that's inanimate.
Their sculpture has evolved on many levels. The material used to make the work often includes substances of some significance to the piece or to the client, like this sculpture made for a church in Cape Breton.
It is made from the soil of 16 communities across Cape Breton Island. Underneath Christ's heart approximately is soil from Jerusalem.
The covering on the Virgin Mary even contains copper from the torch from the Statue of Liberty. The idea of incorporating significant material into each work began after Joseph and Brian were in New York following 9/11.
By the time we got to Ground Zero, we were there for the cleanup over the next few weeks. We were all covered with powder. So we started collecting some of the powder, and then we went to the city and got more because we would need a whole lot more. And we reincorporated it and reconstituted it into the resurrected Christ, which is made from the remains of Ground Zero.
There's one in Cologne, Germany, one at the National Cathedral in Washington, D.C., and one at St. Peter's Church at Ground Zero.
It's definitely a combined effort between the two of us. Easily I will say he comes up with a lot of the ideas, and then I have to make them work.
And work they do, in houses, museums, and churches around the world, all created from their studio right here in the Maritimes.
Once again, you have stunned me with a story that I don't think any of us knew that was going on.
I had no idea. Yeah. And every time you speak to these gentlemen, they have amazing stories. In fact, there was a church in Cape Breton that burned down, the Zion Wesley United Church in Gabaroos Lake. It did burn to the ground. And to honor the rebuilding of the church, Brian and Joseph decided that they would create the statue you saw at the beginning, the Virgin Mary holding the Christ.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So they thought it would be a fitting tribute to the church, along with Zion Wesley, the congregations of Forth Shoe and Bethel United in Marion Bridge. They're part of the same parish, so they said, okay, we'll do a bigger one for the main church, and we'll do 2 other pieces for these other churches.
Right? Isn't that something?
Generous.
Wow.
So, by the way, if you'd like to get a hold of these gentlemen or find out more about them, www.calliope2009.wordpress.com. CALLIOPE.
Amazing work.
There you go.
Amazing.
Yes.
Top 20 chosen now.